When healthy, one of the most dynamic players in all of baseball. It appears that Byron Buxton is back. Joining us now is Do-Hyoung Park, who does a tremendous job covering the Twins on a daily basis for MLB.com. And Do-Hyoung, Byron Buxton was out of the lineup with that chronic knee tendonitis, but it seems like that is past him. What can you tell us about his improvement with that knee area and what he's going to be doing moving forward?
Well, he's back on the field, as you certainly saw. He's making a big impact for the Twins when he is. I don't know that it's something that we can say that he'll be past this year at any point. And I think that's something that the Twins have made clear, is that they've been taking Byron Buxton day by day, more or less all season. It's a day-to-day kind of situation with the knee tendonitis. It's worse on some days, it's better on other days, and he tries to play through the better days, and sometimes when it's worse, they'll have to take a treatment day or take a precautionary day to keep him on the field, because the idea here, and they've mentioned this a couple times, is that this is just probably something he's going to be dealing with this whole season until maybe the off season, where he has a couple months in a row to kind of rest it. Whereas right now, like, you could put him on the IL, but they don't think that a couple of weeks or even a month is going to help this settle down. So the question then is, if Byron Buxton's going to be dealing with this knee tendonitis, how do you keep him on the field? And that's what they're doing as best as they can. They see how he's feeling every day when he wakes up. They give him treatment when he gets to the ballpark. More often than not this year, he's been able to play because they've been able to manage it like that. And sometimes it's going to lead to absences, and sometimes it's going to lead to multiple absences in a row. I will point out that this chunk of games that he missed was the first time he has missed consecutive games since early May. So whatever the Twins are doing, it's been working. And as a whole, Buxton has played in 54 of the Twins' 74 games this season, which is well on pace to, I think, be his second most productive season as far as staying on the field. So this is something that, like I said, is going to be a recurring element through the season, I think. But the Twins and Buxton are managing it the best they can. And I think Buxton is pretty satisfied with not only his ability to be present for his teammates through this, but also the production he's given them.
And I have to say that I was one of the ones that was critical of what Derek Falvey was doing with Byron Buxton, keeping him off the field. But I have to say I was wrong in the way that they're managing this, because he's tied for fourth in the American League with home runs. He's productive when he is out there. And this Twins team is doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing in that AL Central. So I want to be sure that I get that in there. But I wanted to talk to you also, Do-Hyoung, about this very odd change as far as the pitching coach is concerned. It seems that Wes Johnson is going to be heading to LSU to be their pitching coach. What more can you tell us about that? And perhaps are we going to start seeing this trend?
Yeah, I'm actually headed to Cleveland right now to catch up with the team. I think the sense is that the team had no sense this was coming, and they're somewhat blindsided by it when the news actually broke yesterday, as the team was boarding its flight to Cleveland to come here for this 5-game series in 4 days. And so we haven't had a chance to talk to Wes. Obviously, the only communication we've had with the Twins is through through the release that they offered this morning with a statement from Derek Falvey. But we're going to be in the clubhouse there with Wes today, as he's set to finish out his tenure with the Twins in this 5-game series against the Guardians before he heads to LSU following Thursday's game, which the club has announced will be his final game with the organization. Obviously an unprecedented decision, but Wes Johnson's arrival with the Twins was also nearly unprecedented. Remember back in 2019, when he was hired, I believe he was the first pitching coach ever to make the jump directly from the collegiate level to the major league ranks, when the Twins hired him away from the University of Arkansas, where he'd previously been the pitching coach. So obviously he knows the SEC. He knows what it takes to be a pitching coach in that conference. I don't want to speculate as to like a decision that's this big and this unprecedented. I don't want to try to get into his mind before we speak to him about what led him to make this decision, but obviously a highly unorthodox move, and the Twins are probably going to have to scramble to figure this thing out a little bit. They're in first place. Their pitching staff isn't in a great place right now. Their starting rotation is healthy, but their bullpen has just kind of been you see who's available to you on a day-to-day basis and try to cobble together a game plan from that. And honestly, the big part of this is that Rocco Baldelli, the manager, is not really involved with his pitching plans and with the kind of pitching, with just everything to do with his pitching staff on a day-to-day basis, because Wes Johnson was so on top of everything. He was so ingrained as kind of the leader of that group that it was really his ship to run on the pitching side. And so I think there's going to be a lot of ground and a lot of leadership to cover on the pitching side that the Twins are going to have to kind of patch together throughout the rest of this season. And
Do-Hyoung, do you have a sense of who might fill that spot?
There's a report out there, and I think there's a sense that a prime candidate could be bullpen coach Pete Mackey, who has been with this organization for a while. He's also come out of the college game. He was with Duke University before he joined the Twins. He was part of their player development staff down in the minor leagues before he jumped to the interim bullpen coach in 2020 and then became their full-time bullpen coach. And that's the thing with Wes was such a like I mentioned, Wes was such a pivotal part of everything they did with pitching. Is that I think in order to keep kind of that pitching environment and that pitching plan and as much stability as possible, I think it's probably going to have to be somebody that was involved with those things in Wes's major league environment. And I think that's where you have Pete Mackey, that's where you have Luis Ramirez, who's been assistant pitching coach. And I think it's really going to be a big effort to just kind of piece it together, because you can't just replace a Wes Johnson with kind of everything that he was tasked with doing, with all the responsibilities that he had. I always thought that he was the most stressed person and the most and the busiest person in the clubhouse, just going back and forth to all of his pitchers, planning everything out before any given game. And it's not going to be easy to make that up, that's for sure.
No question. The Twins bullpen hasn't given up a run in its last 4 games. I want to quickly turn to the position players in the offense. What's gotten into Carlos Correa? He seems to have found a groove.
Well, he was joking about this when he first got into spring training, too, because he signed late because he didn't have a home throughout the lockout. And then obviously everything came together really quickly to bring him in the stunning move to Minnesota. And he told us in spring training, listen, guys, there's a good chance I start slowly, because he's the kind of guy that just needs to have the at-bats in spring training. He needs to be able to feel out the pitchers, have the pitchers adjust to what he's doing, and then adjust back to what the pitchers are doing and just kind of get a feel for his plate coverage all over the plate. And that's something that he emphasized to us. And lo and behold, I think he started off hitting 167 through the first couple weeks of the season. And then once he got comfortable at the plate, he got those reps in, you could see him starting to figure it out, and now he's hitting the ball hard all over the place. He only cares about exit velocity. We always joke he goes for 500 games, where he wants his hits on any given day to combine for 500 miles an hour of exit velocity. I think he's had a couple of those now, and he's been on absolute fire since that slow start. And especially since Buxton's availability on a day-to-day basis might be more in question. Maybe he's sitting 1 or 2 games a week. Having Correa as that consistent, productive presence in the lineup, on defense, as a leader in the clubhouse, that's been instrumental to this team. And it's hard to say where they would be without him right now.
Yeah, nobody knows those numbers and everything better than Carlos Correa. Very analytically minded. Do-Hyoung Park with MLB.com. Thank you so much. Safe travels to Cleveland, and hopefully you have the A group on Southwest Airlines.
I'm in B, but thanks a lot. Appreciate it.